let's talk more about 5 Characters in Search of an Exit. As far as 5 Characters starting out, as you clearly demonstrated so far in this interview, you've always been very sort of like, business-oriented, planning things out. Was that the same thing with 5 Characters? Did it come with like a central theme, mission statement, objective, or did Gino just start playing a ridiculous guitar riff and you started screaming over it? Was it more organic, or was it kind of more planned and meticulous?
Like the start of 5 Characters?
Yeah, starting 5 Characters in Search of an Exit.
I did one cool thing that we got was we got a little write-up in like Alternative Press, and they asked like a similar question, and I really liked the way she spun it, where me and Gino met because we were both in like pop bands growing up. I was covering like Fall Out Boy and Says This Fail in early November with this band, and he was covering like Muse and Rage Against the Machine, all the cool bands that like I didn't know about yet because I just didn't grow up with that scene. So we would always play shows together, and as we were both setting up or as coming off on a stage, we would be like cracking jokes or like singing songs with each other. Like I'd always go up to Jim and be like, "Note to self, I miss you terribly," and then he'd come around, "This is what we call." So it's like that's when like that emo screamo kind of like stage was coming on, and then we'd go to our separate ways, and then we'd come back and have the new like "Oh, did you hear about Under Oath?" It's just like, so that's when like the scream was really taking over the scene. And we both realized, like, we're not happy in our current bands. Like, we're done with this. Like, I want to be the fucking Chariot tomorrow. So it almost started off as him just covering a Chariot song and me just coming over and screaming, because at that point my scream was kind of coming into play, and I was just screaming in every chance I could in my pop band. It obviously didn't fit there, but it was evolving like it probably was across the country, So Gino and his brother Dom came over, or we went to their house. They have like a little studio, and I brought my guitar player John, who's actually in the Family Crest right now, which is the opposite of everything we're talking about. So you should definitely check them out. Hopefully they'll be on this another time. But we sat down. Gino started like playing something. John picked it right up. Dom already had a bass line, and I like wrote lyrics over it. And like what happened in 5 minutes was probably more productive than what has happened in like 4 years with my other band. And we all just looked at each other, and Gino's like, "I'm quitting the band. I'm quitting my other band next week." I was like, "All right, we're already done. Like the other guys are checking out. Like let's do this as much as possible." And you got to remember, this is like, I think Heavy Heavy Lolo just hit the scene. So Help Me God was like really big in San Jose. Arsis Got All the Girls was like just got signed to Century. So like this is the beginning of a lot of for this generation, probably the one right before me. So. Yeah, it was a combination of both. Hey, let's do something special here. I think we are, for the most part, talented. I still think I'm like the least talented person in the room, but I'm not stupid. Like the stuff Gino was writing, I had to be on it, and we just linked up there, and we were inseparable, and we wrote. And a lot of those songs you probably know today are all came from that first session, or even like the second or third. It's crazy to see the longevity of what he's written.
One of the most interesting things, at least to me, about 5 Characters, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but you've told me multiple times that you don't really take any influence directly from bands in the style that 5 Characters plays, because it's not really what you listen to.
Yeah.
If that is the case, then how did this come? Was that a organic thing? Like you just didn't listen to that kind of music, or was it on purpose to sort of maybe make your style come from a very original place, so you weren't copying anybody, or was it just, you just weren't into that kind of music at the time?
I kind of grew up in the MTV generation of like ending with like videos weren't being played as much, but there was still like the TRLs of the world, Total Request Live. That's no one knows what that is now, but there was like snippets of videos and then interviews, and they were catching on that like the attention spans were closing in, but there was still major players in the industry. So I remember getting exposed to like a mainstream market, so to speak, and just applying that to my life, my toolkit, so to speak. So if I'm writing, a hardcore metal song, that, the question that you just asked me, I remember someone asking that similar to Missy Elliott. And her answer was, "I don't own a TV." And they're like, "What? You don't own a TV?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm here to make music. I'm here to write records. I don't want any other outside influence, you know what I mean?" So I saw the Missy Elliott interview, and that made so much sense to me, because I was already kind of doing it. I didn't grow up on the heavy metal, you know, like when someone's like, Leonard Skinner, bro, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they're great, but I didn't grow up with that, so it doesn't influence me. And I'm not going to go back and listen to, you know, Pantera now, because every band sounds like that. So why would I do that to Five Characters? So if there was like a crazy part, you know, I was probably listening to Taking Back Sunday and how they, you know, the first album, how they do their vocals, you know, like in and out. So why can't we do that with Screams? No one's doing that, you know, and if they were, I didn't hear it. So, you know, if I'm listening to more indie acoustic stuff, I'm listening to the melody, the lyrics, because I can't play guitar, I can't play piano. The only thing I can contribute to Five Characters is the melody and lyrics, so I'm not going to waste it on some random growls and some high, you know, I want to make every line, every melody calculated with passion. Like, that's it. So I took what Missy Elliott was kind of saying and what I was naturally picking up. And I'm sure, I've even read like Katy Perry does the same thing. Like, she'll shut herself out from media because you don't want to get influenced. But it's already out there, so why are you going to put it on record again? So
it's to my understanding that Gino is kind, in terms of the songwriting, is sort of the brainchild, the creative mastermind behind how the songs start out. Obviously, you put the vocals and kind of send the central theme of the message to the band. But he kind of, you know, he's writing these crazy riffs and putting these insanely technical soundscapes together. What's always struck me as interesting is, despite knowing that, whenever I see you guys play, or even a photo shoot of some promos, you, of course, the front man, you've always been the focal point, and then the next person that I go to that catches my eye was Joseph, the drummer. Is it fair to say that you and Joseph, sort of in terms of the vibe, and like, did you guys maybe run things, were you guys kind of the core of Five Characters in terms of its true identity, despite Gino sort of, at least in terms of sonically, kind of forming the identity of the band? Is it true that visually and sort of in terms of vibe, it was more obviously on you as the frontman, but also on Joseph as well?
I'd say, looking back on that and reflecting on that specific question, it's very valuable, or it just works a lot better if everyone in a band knows their role, so to speak. And it's not a degrading, like, know your role kind of thing. It's a matter of letting people kind of soar with their own strengths. So if Gino can write a great song, but he can't sit and do an interview, don't force him to do that interview, because it's not going to work out. And I've tried. You know, we've tried to do the, hey, what's up, like the quick check-ins, just never worked out. So why are we going to waste time on that when I can pop in and do like, yo, what's up, this is Robby from Five Characters, just want to, you know, because it comes natural to me. But I couldn't pay Gino to do that. Whether it was his natural ability or maybe his own stance and his own thinking on what music's supposed to be about. We didn't always agree on things we should do or songs we should play. Or I remember one time I was wearing a shirt and they were joking around. I would like to think they were joking that they weren't going to play unless I changed my shirt. But I was trying to get a sponsor at that time. You know, I was trying to, you know, the head honchos from Hot Topic were there. So yeah, I have to wear a Hot Topic shirt. But no, that's not what we're about. Yeah, but we are about, you know, taking it to the next level, and this is the music industry, you know? So in that aspect, I can't downplay enough his talent and the other members. But to go back to your question, yeah, lead singer is going to be there for sure. Joseph, I think in his own right, was kind of coming into his full potential. I've watched him grow from a quiet 16-year-old kid, you know, nervous to talk to us at In-N-Out Burger, to filling in on drums and giving Five Characters a new life, to becoming one of my best friends. And look at him now, you know, we'll get into it, I'm sure, but he's on the road, he's doing what he loves. I met him, he had no tattoos. He probably has less skin than he has tattoos now. He's got dreads, you know, like, that was always Joseph, but it was just growing. So I was never one to hold anyone back because, oh, you're the guitar player, you should do this. Right? It's like, hey, we're here, let's just do our best. You know, I could never talk like this back then, but I've learned these lessons, and that's part of the reason why I want to do these types of interviews, is so hopefully other bands can. So if they're finding someone right now, like, just let them be them, and if it doesn't work out, there's someone else who could potentially help you get where you want to go. That's one of the greatest lessons I've taken from my relationship with those two guys, and they're still my friends to this day. And that's the goal, right? If you're not playing music anymore, you still want to be friends. It's not a breakup. They're not chicks. There's nothing wrong with chicks, by the way.